because you are elected at the district level, the people in your district probably know you much better than the folks in the rest of the town. So that's part of the point of this show, is to help people come to know more about you. Let's go back to mindfulness here, Shalini. Could you talk a little bit about mindfulness and what that is, and what that, how does that influence or serve you as a member of the council, and how do you think it might help the council in its work?
Sure. So just generally speaking, asking about what's mindfulness is like asking what is life, or define love. So I will do my best. In its simplest form, mindfulness is having the ability to see things clearly without letting our biases and our emotions hijack our thinking.
That's a very good, concise definition.
Yes. And
continue.
And as you can see, it has many implications. It has so many benefits. So that's one of the reasons it's now being studied, researched in education, in politics, in business, the military. In the town council specifically, there are, again, so many benefits. But one that immediately comes to mind is perspective taking. So I can be really attached to an issue, and it's like so important. I really want everyone to buy into that issue, for example. And in mindfulness, my training would require that while I present that passionately, and at the same time, I also listen, have the ability to truly, genuinely be curious of other people's perspectives. So that means my district people, the town people, how are they going to be affected by this? So involving their voices, perspectives, looking at research, what are the best practices in this? So I may think, based on my experience, this works. I believe everyone should be practicing mindfulness. But I have to see what is the culture, what are people saying, what is the research, what are the best practices, so we don't reinvent the wheel. So what is some research behind it? And then the third piece of it is then again stepping back and now looking at the bigger picture of what is the additional information I have, and how can I work with that. So that, I think, is very, very important. Should I go on with another one? Okay.
Let me play that back. Active listening, integrating other people's thoughts into your own thinking as a conversation or a debate is going on.
Right.
And then allowing those ideas and thoughts and different opinions to meaningfully influence your final decision and vote.
Right.
That suggests that sometimes you might change your mind right there at the table.
Yes, and that can be seen as a negative. Oh, she's going back and forth. She doesn't have, she doesn't have a mind of her own. And I think that's the flexibility, which I hope people can understand, is that yes, as we gain more information, we might be willing to budge, and I think that's a good thing. That shows flexibility and not.
So through how you behave and act, since people will understand that you are influence-driven, if you will, by mindfulness, they're seeing you practice mindfulness, and maybe it will affect their behavior sometimes as well.
Absolutely. Just the way, anger and other emotions are contagious. If you're angry at me, my immediate reaction is going to be to defend myself. And that did happen, actually, in the campaign, where someone really challenged me on an issue which I felt was not fair. And I remember the first time I actually started defending myself. And then later on, again, that's part of the practice, is to go back to that situation and contemplate. And I realized, where was my curiosity there? And I fell into my default mode of defending my position versus engaging the person. Okay, tell me more. How is this affecting you, and what's going on? So,
and what people really want from their elected officials is to know that they're really listening to them.
Yes.
They may not in the end agree with them.
Yes.
But they're being heard. You're listening to me.
Right.
And it may or may not, it's going to be considered in my final decision.
Right.
Whether in the end I vote the way you want or not. But people
Right.
would understand that that's the perspective you come to the table with.
Yes, and then part of closing the loop would be to go back and explain, okay, I heard you and I see, but this is the reasoning why.
Very important.
Why I decided
Why you decided to go in
it
the other
that way.
direction.
Right.
Very good.